Are you fascinated by the paranormal and want to hear about encounters that have happened to real-life people in real-life places? Do you need a drink to calm those nerves after hearing some scary stories?
You're listening to Booze and Bourbon.
Well, we invite you to grab a drink, whether it's a coffee or something with a little bit more spirit in it. Grab a blanket, snuggle in, because I'm Kim and that's Jen, and we're Booze and Bourbon.
Welcome back, y'all, to your favorite peeps.
Hi.
Kim and Jen here from Booze and Bourbon.
Yeah, and it's 2020. How's everyone feeling?
Like it is 2020.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a 2020 vision for this 2020.
Yeah. So maybe we should start off with some New Year's tips, Kim.
Yeah, well, like the bourbon we're having today, we're going to stay on budget. We've got two little Mickeys that popped up underneath the tree that lovely Santa Claus left for us. Mm-hmm. One is Colonel Lee, Kentucky, and the other is Hayes Parker Reserve. So we did a little bit of research on these, and you can find them at Total Wines for typically 1.75 liter. Goes for like between $14 to $19. So if you want bourbon on a budget and you have a very sorry bank account after the Christmas season.
Yeah. This is your jam.
Yeah, we're going to try them and we're going to let you know how they are.
Yeah. We're a little concerned, but I mean, if you're on a budget, you got to do what you got to do.
That's right. And since they're Mickeys, we of course have no cork pop either. So.
I can make a sound though.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh. That's really nice. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. That was
the mini Mickey pop.
I like the little at the end.
All right.
So you're going to choose the Hayes
Parker.
Okay.
Really for no other reason besides the label looked prettier than that one.
Okay.
While we're talking about budgets and getting into the new year, given my my fave thing to do, which is health and wealth and fitness. Mm-hmm. Most bourbon is between 90 to 125 calories in a shot, basically.
Yeah.
So if you're, trying to stay healthy and watch your calories, try to stick with the over 80 proof because calories go down.
Love it.
So yeah.
That's great. That's good to know. And the other thing about bourbon is that it's gluten-free.
Yes.
So if you decided that, maybe all the bread over the holidays made you feel disgusting, maybe you have a gluten intolerance, these whiskeys are your friend because in the distillation process, it removes the gluten.
We got it off with a lot of work.
There was no actual nice little snap.
Colonial Lee, you really are trying to keep that in there.
It doesn't smell that bad. Oh, here we go. Here's some sounds for you. I want a little bit heftier.
The sound of budget bourbon right there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So do you want to smell yours first and tell us what you smell?
I smell corn.
That's good. It's a good
But
start.
I smell a lot of alcohol too.
Okay.
I don't think this has been aged.
I
think apple cider apple cider vinegar, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what I'm kind of getting over here.
Added to it.
So budget bourbon smells like apple cider vinegar with a huge side of alcohol, and also
woof. It does not taste good.
A little bit of acetone.
I'm trying to be helpful here for you guys in this.
The only positive note I can give this is a little bit of honey smell, a little honey scent to it. But
mine tastes like corn, no sweetness, just corn.
Mine actually tastes exactly like nail polish remover with a shot of honey. So
I think this is actually the first time that you and I have ever opened up bourbon that we don't like.
Don't like, yeah.
And I think our palates have changed a lot over the year as well.
We're bougie bourbon drinkers. We don't go for the cheap stuff.
I mean, I remember when we first started, my husband would not let us open some of the more special bottles we had, like the Wild Turkey Master's Keep. He was like, no, you girls aren't ready for this. And I have to say, I think he was right.
Yeah, we've really evolved,
Honey, if you're listening to this, you were right.
This is the one time you're hearing that. You were right.
Oh,
but
God.
It's heating up the bourbon pocket in a different way.
Mine isn't.
It's more like a burn.
Okay.
again, if you drank nail polish remover, then I guess that's what would happen. But
okay.
Okay.
So we are really hopeful that we're going to be able to give you guys some great recommendations and some cheap bourbon. But
so far,
I don't even think I'd want to put this in a cocktail.
No. I mean, this one actually you probably could because it's not as bad. I know I keep saying nail polish remover, but there is a hint of honey in there. So,
okay.
We'll let it get some air. See if it changes. We'll try it again in like a couple minutes.
This is like a mixture of corn and tequila.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have like a Mexican, like a little taco going on over there.
Yeah, it
burrito.
Does. And Colonel on the front of the label does not look Mexican.
No.
Strange. All right. So now, guys, we're going to get into our favorite game of Would You Rather.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
I'm going to come in strong
for
the beginning of the year here. Just to go real offside, keeping it real for, my true being.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather, and this is kind of going with the New Year's theme, have a firecracker out of your butthole?
Oh my God.
Like you are holding the firecracker, you are the party.
This has been in movies and it's never goes well.
No,
okay?
Firecracker in the butthole.
Mm-hmm.
Or you drink so much champagne that when you pee, you're peeing champagne with the bubbles included, which I don't know if that would burn or not, but just really fizzy, bubbly pee.
Well,
either way, you have something coming out of a hole or the other, but one could burn you.
In true Jen form. I'm going to go with champagne because I feel like there would have been a good time. And I also feel like sometimes I question why your pee is bubbly. Why does that actually...
Like little air pockets?
I don't know. I don't get it. If somebody if somebody can tell us why that happens, then please do. Anyway, that's my final answer.
Okay.
Peeing champagne bubbles.
At least you'd be probably hammered at the same time, so you might not feel the burning sensation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'll do the firecracker because I feel like that's,
more
just
your
on my
thing?
bucket list. I don't know.
It's on your bucket list. Okay. Well, I hope I'm there for that party.
Successful release of a firework from my butthole.
What happens if there's extra gas that passes by? Like, is it?
I think that might actually help the firework go farther, so then it won't be as close to me. But that's just my thought. I don't know.
Jen's bucket list and Kim's bucket list are very different. Mm-hmm. All right. So Jen, keeping with the butt theme for you, I was wondering, would you rather have your lips, luscious, beautiful lips, on your butthole?
Like attached to it?
Yeah. Like instead of having lips on your mouth, you've got lips on your butt.
My bum is on your lips. My bum is on your lips.
Or have no lips on your face, but have a butthole as your mouth.
Ew.
Gotcha.
Ugh. Okay, well, we're already offsided as it is. So, you could then make out with your butthole. Somebody else could make out with your butthole.
Ew.
But it's still your butthole. So, if you had a butthole for a mouth, there's procedures, aka filler and stuff that you could just get, put in there to like maybe, it would be like a very voluptuous balloon knot look.
Yeah. You think you could pull that off?
It could be the new thing. You see those new lips coming out that people are getting like the almost star shape and they're getting like these extra. Did you see that?
No.
If you guys look online, there's actually females out there right now that are getting lip injections, but getting them so that they have like a different shape to their lips.
I'm
that
looking
actually
this up right now, guys. Lips.
It's a real thing, guys. So, I could start the balloon knot lip.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. It's not that much. That looks like the Batwoman lip.
The unnatural devil lips.
Oh, or that. Yeah. There's a real name for it.
Ooh, she's got like a little hangy thing in the middle of her upper lip.
See, that's almost like a butthole. So I'm going to go with that.
Cherry lips.
I'm going to go with it. It could be a thing.
Ew.
That's disgusting.
They were surgically sewn that way.
You guys should really Google this because, there's a lot on here.
Wow. I had no idea.
So, balloon knot lip shape 2020.
Okay, Jen.
You're welcome.
Oh, and there's a heart.
Yeah.
See, that's devastating. I wouldn't be able to do that to my face.
I just like to think about like what that's going to look like when you're, pushing 80, 90 and, you haven't got it filled in a while and it starts to get that,
See, I think of like, since I don't have children, I think of how I will be when I'm a senior and there's going to be like other people taking care of me. Mm-hmm. And if I had like star-shaped lips, I feel like I wouldn't get the level of care as a senior as somebody with normal lips.
But I will. You know my obsession with seniors. I mean, I'll take care of you. I'll probably be I'll be the same age anyway, but like I'll probably be the really fucked up one that's like...
No, you'll be the healthy one. You'll have like a sharp mind and I'll have dementia.
I'll be healthy, but I mean fucked up. Like I'll be the one starting parties like with, flashing all the old guys and like,
oh my God,
showing my balloon knot to everybody.
Speaking of this, my mom, who broke her hip twice in 4 weeks, I've been hanging out a lot with her and I've been going over to her place to do her hair and I've been taking her to her appointments and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty funny because she tells me this whole lifestyle of what it's like when they go to Florida and they're in a seniors community for 6 months of the year. And so we were talking about like what happens when like couples, like one dies and then you find somebody else and like that whole dynamic. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh yeah, I heard about this lady who's like friends with so-and-so and she has a new boyfriend and she's like in her late 70s and he's in his 80s. Mm-hmm. And she's like, do you know how they met? Like, no, how? And she's like, well, they met because she showed up to his wife's funeral.
Oh, that's pleasant.
And then she told me about this term that they use down there in Florida, in these seniors communities, about women who prey on men who have just lost their wives.
Oh.
And they go over to the house and they bring food and they call them the casserole queens.
Oh my God.
I was like, Mom, I'm going to do your hair up like you're a casserole queen.
Damn. I mean, I guess, like, dating's hard as it is, but, like, when you're that age, I guess you got to do what you got to do. You just wait for the next one to pass and you just creep in.
Yeah, exactly.
Creep right in. Maybe you should start with a meatloaf and see how that goes, or, like, mix it up.
Yeah,
banana bread. Something.
God, we've rambled on long enough, guys.
Yeah,
we're going to get into today's main topic, which is haunted hospitals. So we sincerely hope our chat for the last 13 minutes has really helped you to stay out of these potential haunted hospitals.
Yes, exactly.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's the Casserole Queen, Kim.
She here. She's coming for your man.
Yeah. He's in the hospital at the Old Changi Hospital in Singapore. Old Changi Hospital is not a name most people know in the West over here, but in Asia, it's synonymous with being one of the scariest haunted hospitals in the world. This hospital gained notoriety for tragedy when it turned into a Japanese prison camp during World War II. During the height of the war, the Japanese military used Old Changi as a place to torture anyone that was deemed even remotely anti-Japanese. It also allegedly housed the headquarters of Kempeitai, a Japan's secret police faction. No one really knows what kind of torture happened at Old Changi. Rumors of decapitation, rape, dismemberment, and even more have swirled over the decades. However, it's safe to say that the ruthless of the Kempeitai probably meant that few ever survived. After the war, Old Shanghai Hospital was given back to the British, where it served soldiers for a couple of years. Those who were treated claimed that they felt a strange pall over the hospital and would often wake up with feelings of dread. Strange goings-on quickly began to crop up. People would hear disembodied voices, see shadows fleeting from corners of the room, or even waking up to the feeling of being watched by invisible eyes. Some claimed to be pushed by unseen hands, see a woman surrounded by a black aura, or even have dreams of being tortured by men in uniform. Not one, not even doctors, seemed to feel comfortable in the building. Due to its dark history, the hospital soon began to switch hands from the British to the new country of Singapore, until finally it closed down in 1997. The ruins still remain, and though no people live there, it seems residents can't quite get themselves to leave. Apparently, once the building was abandoned, activity began to skyrocket. People claim to hear screaming echoing from the empty halls, or even see full-bodied apparitions of bloodied people walking on the hospital campus. The strangest regularly cited paranormal phenomenon happens to ghost hunters who decide to go into the building at night. Many go in a group, and one member of their party goes missing for a short amount of time. In the missing member's eyes, they were following a friend to a remote part of the hospital. Then they notice that the person they were following no longer looks like their friend, but rather someone or something else. The apparition then tells them, "You don't belong here. It's dangerous. Please leave and do not come back," then vanishes. All things considered, its reputation for being one of the scariest haunted hospitals is well deserved, no matter how you look at it. There's things about that remind me of Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
Especially this doppelganger thing going on here. Like you think that you're following somebody that might be your friend, and then all of a sudden it turns into somebody else. Strange.
They seem to all, and obviously we're getting into more of them, but they all seem to have some very similar situations and
absolutely
characteristics. So moving on to Taunton State, which is in Taunton, Massachusetts. Much like other haunted hospitals, Taunton State had all the makings of a perfect slice of hell. The doctors were given free rein over patients, and that often meant that they would be subjected to cruel and inhumane experimental treatments, often in hopes that doctors would find the next miracle cure for mental health. Rumors constantly swirl about what really happened in Taunton. Many people believe that some of the doctors used people's bodies for satanic rituals, or that those who broke into the hospital after its closure decided to do so instead. All that we really know is that Taunton had 2 female serial killers, Lizzie Borden and Jane Toppin, as residents. We also know that the doctors and nurses also reported lots of strange occurrences in their time there. One of the most common issues doctors noticed was the fact that they'd often have an unseen force that would block them from entering the basement. It was as if an invisible wall was placed in front of the bottom step, but obviously this is impossible. This would happen at all hours. Once night would fall, the kind of hauntings that begin to come out quickly changed. Disembodied voices would beg people to leave or growl like an animal about to strike. Shadow people were regularly spotted throughout the halls, poking their heads out and lurking right out of the line of direct sight of most people. The most unsettling apparition here is known as the Creeper, and it's a shadow person who regularly is seen crawling up the walls and on the ceilings. I love the ones that crawl. They're the greatest.
Also Waverly Hills.
Yes. Much of Taunton has been demolished, but some parts of the building still remain and seemingly emanate evil. If that doesn't make this one of the scariest haunted hospitals in history, we don't know what does.
Interesting. That's not that far away from us here in Nova Scotia.
No.
Maybe we need to go make a visit. We got to figure out if we can actually go visit that place.
Yes, we should.
All right. So the next place, Jen, you've been doing some research on this. You might as well tell about it.
Well, we think, but I'm not sure because I can't find anything that says, but based on the movie Shutter Island that we were talking about, well, you and me talked about, we think that this is where that movie came from. Mm-hmm. Not 100% sure, but I mean, the island itself looks really pretty.
It does. It's in Italy.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a nice place.
Yeah.
So, as a tourist attraction or a little ad, it basically represents itself as a place to get ready to piss your pants and scream like a little girl. Yeah.
Excellent. So we found this article from HuffPost, and it says Poveglia Island, like hell, but in Italy.
Poveglia Island is a secluded little piece of land that even the machoest of Italians stay the fuck away from. The final restless place of thousands of deceased, murderous and insane people. Poveglia is the convergence of everything we know about evil. So what's the deal with this island of spooky terror? Back when the bubonic plague ate up most of the world's population, the Romans had a clever idea to keep the healthiest separated from the sickos.
Oh.
That's a really nice way to say it. The plagued people were shipped off to Poveglia Island, a small, secluded landmass that floats between Venice and Lido. There, people lived out the last of their wretched lives together until they croaked. It's a very pleasant way of saying it as well. Since the island already reeked of death, the next time an epidemic came along, barely alive bodies were dumped there and burned in mass graves.
Wait a second. Barely alive?
Yeah.
So they were burned alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're just going to say barely to make it, just cover it up a little bit.
Yeah.
In the 1920s, a mental hospital was built to welcome the island's newest guests, or anybody that showed symptoms of any sort of sickness, physical or mental. Basically, if you had an itch, away you went to Poveglia, where you'd sink your feet into the soil, half dirt and half human ash, and be in the company of over 100,000 deceased ghosts. That sounds very pleasant. What's more is that these plagued ghosts aren't your lovable Patrick Swayze types. No, these ghosts are pissed. You see, a dickhead doctor ran the mental hospital, and since mental health was pretty wishy-washy back then, conducted all kinds of brutal experiments on residents of the island, like shoving chisels into their brains to see what moved.
Basically a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The doc eventually tumbled off the bell tower, either by his own doing or with a little shove from a few tortured souls. He survived the fall, but rumor has it that some sort of mist swallowed him upon landing, effectively finishing the job. Suffice it to say that if you're looking for a place to piss your pants in horror, Poveglia's got the ghoulish goods.
Excellent. The dudes from Ghost Adventures got all kinds of spooked on the island. Their episode on Poveglia, where the crew stranded themselves there for 24 hours, is full of perceived curses, apparitions, creepy music, weird energy, inexplicable equipment malfunctions, and off-the-charts ghost monitors. These dudes use their best Italian to ask the ghosts pertinent questions like, "Are you a murderer?" And it seemed to get responses from the dark abyss. Mysterious bangs, audible footsteps, disembodied voices, and strange orbs are all captured on video and audio. As with most episodes of Ghost Adventures, people bash the validity of their haunted claims. We'll admit, this shit looks scary, but most things illuminated only by the green of a night vision camera usually are. Best example, Paris Hilton giving a BJ. I just want to say hats off to HuffPost. This is great. No one cares if you want to give yourself the willies. There are no boats that make regular stops at the island. The Italian Tourism Board prohibits visiting the island on paper and requires a lengthy application process where you must obtain approval before you can step your trembling foot onto the human ash-covered land. But as with most things, for the right price, about €200, you can hire a dude to float you over there. No approval necessary. Okay, maybe we're going to Italy and finding a shady captain. Yep. Tip, step lightly. The whole place is falling apart in chunks, which may explain some of those mysterious bangs. Italians like to keep Poveglia at the bottom of their list of tourist attractions, but nosy scare seekers have found their way onto the forbidden shores with mixed results about their encounters with the undead. When it comes to ghosts, it seems that people always find exactly what they're looking for. Well, not exactly. In the end, it's hard to say if this island is actually haunted, but we can tell you that it's 100% better to be scared in Italy than it is stuffing your face with candy corn on your couch. Well, yeah, I probably have to agree with that.
Yeah.
But if candy corn is bourbon, then it might be a problem.
They should make candy corn bourbon.
I bet there is.
Yeah?
Yeah. Have to look for that. We will. Well, I mean, we only have 10 months until Halloween? We can figure it out by then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I might add to our episode here, just because we are talking about hospitals, I do have a story also related to hospitals that I don't want to say is scary because it's not. It was kind of like a good scary.
Yes.
So one of my best friends, her mother had sadly passed away. I'm trying to think of how many years ago it's been now. 4, maybe 5 years ago. The night that she did pass, she was in the hospital. Obviously, they were all there with her. I had gone to visit her earlier in the day and gone home. And I remember it was in the summer, of course, and that's the only thing I can remember because it made this extra weird. But Right around the exact time that she passed, all the fire alarms went off on the floor of the hospital that she was on. So everyone was running around and trying to clear people out. And of course, they stayed in the room. They didn't want to clear out because their mother had just passed away. And yeah, they couldn't get them to shut off. And they finally did get them to shut off. And there was no actual explanation as to why the fire alarms were going off.
Yeah.
At that exact same time, I was woken up in my own home out of my sleep to my fire alarm going off in my hallway outside my bedroom. So not the downstairs one, just the one upstairs right outside my bedroom door that's between me and the bathroom, basically.
I have chills all over my body.
So I didn't know this at the time, but I got up. I was pissed because I was like woken up in the middle. It was like 1:30 or between 1 and 2 a.m. And again, because I might be a little blonde, I didn't know how to shut it off. So I just ripped it off the ceiling instead.
That's what I do too.
I just pulled it off the ceiling. And when she called me to tell me what had happened and like how she had passed away, she mentioned the fire alarm thing. And I instantly got shivers and like paused for a second. And I'm like, well, I have to tell you something then, because this doesn't make any sense. But at the same time as that was happening, like the same time as you're saying it happened to me here. And it was just my upstairs fire alarm. And I honestly did not put it back in. Like my dad just made me put a new fire alarm in like 2 weeks ago because he was like, did you ever replace that? I'm like, no, I just left it out because, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. That's a really cool story though.
Yeah. I like that. I like to think that was her way of letting me know like she was going.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know that there's a lot of haunted hospitals out there, and there's a lot of obviously things that happen in hospitals that would potentially make it haunted. Mm-hmm. So if you or someone you know has a great hospital story, whether they're a visitor of a hospital, a patient, a nurse or a doctor or anything, just please email us at boozeandbourbon@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is Booze and Bourbon, the podcast, or you can even send us a direct message on Instagram, which is Booze and Bourbon, BOOSAND.
We like when people slide in our DMs and give us would you rather questions as well.
That is actually very, very fun. We've gotten some good ones. And, if you just want to send us a line and we'll always respond, and we really, really appreciate all of our friends on social media and all the people that we've met from doing this podcast.
We do.
And we especially want to thank our patron supporters. Jen, who do we have?
Well, we have Aaron. We have the Ghost Story Guys. We have the ABV Network. We have Stephanie McNew, Rebecca Bolton, Cindy Bussey. We have Andy and Aaron Hamilton.
Guys, thank you so much for all of your support. And with your support, we just make things better and better and better. And we have not mentioned this on the podcast. We did mention it on social media, but with your help and support from November, we were actually able to donate to a really great cause that Jen and I feel very strongly about.
Because we like our animals.
Yeah. So we actually took all of our patron donations for that month, and we donated it to the local SPCA, which takes care of animals that need homes. And there was a huge puppy mill that was found here in Nova Scotia, and there were like 36 or 37 puppies that needed homes and help and support, and they were abused. So the costs of taking care of these animals and rehoming them was pretty substantial. So thank you so very much for that. And everybody who was a patron was very happy that we did that, because I think pretty much everybody's an animal lover.
Yeah. And even if you're not, like, you should be.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not, like, there was a lot of people that did donate as well. So thank you to those people.
Yeah, exactly. Those puppies will be getting some good homes real soon.
Yes.
Also, why 2020 is looking up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Guys, we will be back for an all-new episode next Friday. So until then, stay spooky and stay hydrated with bourbon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Booze and Bourbon is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to advertise on the show, please head over to abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.